Do you want a reverse mortgage? Do you need one? There are plenty of myths and misinformation out there. Who can you trust? Norman Williams. He's one of only 2 registered financial consultants in the state of Texas who is also a reverse mortgage broker. Norm, along with assistant Fred Wells, will be with you every step of the way as you navigate the process of getting a reverse mortgage. Listen now as Norman discusses the latest changes and dispels the myths about reverse mortgages that will help you get to where you want to go. It's the Reverse Mortgage Hour. Here's Norm and Fred.
Hey, folks, welcome back. It's Wednesday, right, Fred?
It is, and it's a hot Wednesday, but we're here in Texas.
Yeah. So we want you to listen in, and we're going to learn a lot about reverse mortgages and financial planning. And the reverse mortgage is a retirement tool, and it's for people 62 years of age and older. So settle back, get a notepad. We're going to give you some real life examples of cases that we've worked. Maybe we give you some ideas to help you or help your friends or somebody that you know at your church or social group. So, and we're here every week, Fred, aren't we, from 3 to 4 o'clock?
Every week on 770 AM. And folks, if you're thinking, well, why would I want a reverse mortgage? I don't need it. You ought to read some of the Wall Street Journal articles. They'll tell you that reverse mortgages are for the very wealthy and the folks that aren't so wealthy. It's just a way of getting more tax-free money. And folks, if you're comfortable right now, wouldn't a little more money help you?
Yeah, always.
And you don't pay taxes on it, folks.
Tax-free money. I love that. And you want more information, you want to give us a call at the office at 877-528-4429. That's 877-528-4429. And go to the website, seniorreversemortgageservices.com. Seniorreversemortgageservices.com. Good information on there. There's a place for you to enter your information to get a free quote. Fred or myself or one of my loan officers will respond to you, get you that information. Just simple fill in the blank, no problem at all. And one of the things that, Fred, a lot of people, we might start to show off with, we always have new listeners out there.
What is a reverse mortgage?
What it is. And, folks, just so you know, as we're talking about this, I did a reverse mortgage 5 years ago. I do it again, and we go through all the reasons why it would benefit you. And, oh, by the way, Fred, there are people it won't benefit, won't it?
That's right. Good. Folks, about 7 to 9% of the folks we talk to, we discourage from doing a reverse mortgage because it's not in their long-term interest to do so. And part of when we get into a discussion with you, we will weed you out. We're not just chasing a commission. We're Texans helping Texans. We live a lot by the referrals we get here off the radio station, but we live more by referrals we get from people we've already done a reverse mortgage for. They're bringing us their cousins, their sisters, their brothers, their neighbors, and their church members, folks, and we will do nothing to discourage that. When you get with us, we're going to be with you each step of the way. And if a reverse mortgage is not for you, we're going to tell you so right up front. Now, the good thing about dealing with Norman and Norman's organization is he may give you other solutions other than a reverse mortgage. It's amazing what he can do on Social Security, on Medicare, on if you've got big medical bills or you're trying to set up another retirement system for life. Norman can help you. But right now, we're going to talk about what a reverse mortgage is.
Okay. A reverse mortgage is a HUD FHA program. Okay? It's a way to tap into the equity of your home, get that equity out of there, and not have any house payments, no payments at all on a reverse mortgage. And you don't have to worry about paying that loan back until the house sells, or both borrowers have passed away, or until no homeowners are living in the home. Maybe they've had to go to assisted living or independent living. They want to downsize. At that time, you'd sell the house, pay off the loan, and then the remaining equity that you had, you would get that. Okay? This is not considered income. So that means there's no taxes, Fred. Isn't that good?
None.
Yep. This does not affect your Social Security since it's not counted as income, so it doesn't trigger anything on your Social Security, and it doesn't affect your Medicare either. Okay? All rates, fees, interest rates are set by HUD. Homeowners must also pay their annual property taxes and your property insurance. And this must be your homestead. This can't be your rent house. This can't be your vacation home in Colorado unless you live in Colorado.
There you go.
Okay, if you're living in Colorado and want to make your homestead reverse mortgage, you can do. But here in Texas, and we're Texans helping Texans, and we're a Texas Incorporated Corporation, and we specialize in reverse mortgages here in Texas only. Now, if you have relatives or other people outside of Texas, we work and help get referrals for you on that. We can help you get placed with people in those states
That are trustworthy.
that are really trustworthy. And our business is built on trust, so we're going to make sure that you find a trustworthy person wherever you may live. Now, Fred, how does somebody qualify for a reverse mortgage?
Here's a real basic one, folks, and you need to listen up to this. Both parties, if you're married or you're just living with somebody, your partner, both of you have to be at least 62. Now, one of you can be 62 and the other one can be 90, but both of you have to be age 62. If you're 61, we still want to talk to you. We'll tell you about the program, what you qualify for, so you can do some planning, but we really can't start the program until both of you are 62. The home must be your primary resident, your homestead, as Norman says. It's not necessarily the only property you own. I've done many reverse mortgages for couples who we did it on their homestead, the house they were living in, but they owned other properties. They had rental properties or commercial properties. You can own 100 other properties, but we can only do the reverse mortgage on your home. All borrowers who want to do a reverse mortgage are required to receive over-the-phone counseling by an independent HUD counseling. The good thing is, once you talk to us, we give you those numbers, we set you up for it. We'll even pre-counsel you so that you don't have any problems with these folks. All reverse mortgages today, with the laws that were changed this last year, require a form of financial review to determine that you have the ability, if we do a reverse mortgage, to pay off your future property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. As Norman said, when you do a reverse mortgage, you no longer have a mortgage payment to pay. You can live in that house the next 100 years without making payments. The house can be free and clear to do a reverse mortgage, or you can have a mortgage on it and we'll pay off that mortgage. And I've never had anybody come back to me and ask, gee, I wish I had that mortgage payment and I could keep paying that $800 or $1,000 a month. Most people just grin. How much money can they get, Norm?
Well, the amount of money that they're going to get is determined by an FHA appraiser. Okay? And, of course, we got to know the age of the youngest borrower. So if that's 62, 63, 64, that age is going to be factored in. And, like I said, the appraiser is going to come out and do the appraisal on the property and give us an actual number. Okay? And it's based upon the current interest rate. And we have adjustable rate right now, some really good rates on that. The last one was about 2.5, Fred?
Well, 2.4. We've got one 2.4. We've got fixed rates, adjustable rates. We've got a whole myriad of programs that we'll explain to you, and you pick the one that most fits your needs.
Yeah, for certainly. So those are the basic rules needed to figure out how much money you're going to get. The nice thing about the way they're working the program today is they set part of the money up into a line of credit until the second year, so you end up with a whole bunch of money spread out over a 12-month period, which is really good.
And the good thing, folks, is when you call us on the phone at 877-528-4429, or you go to the website and tell them you want to talk to somebody about a reverse mortgage, we can give you a quote over the phone. We'll tell you how much you qualify for. We'll answer any questions you have about the program, and then we'll even follow up with writing for you. Most people want to know how they can get the money. Well, the money can come to you from a reverse mortgage several ways. You can get a lump sum. If it takes us $100,000 to pay off your mortgage, then they'll give you that $100,000 to pay off the mortgage. But as Norman said a minute ago, if you don't need all the money you get from a reverse mortgage, say to pay off your mortgage or pay off credit cards, then you can leave part of it in a line of credit. The good thing about that line of credit is it grows tax-free at 3.68% a year. Now, it's just that's equity growing, and you can draw that out anytime you need it. You can also set up a monthly payment for life or a combination of all of those. No matter what on a reverse mortgage, and we're going to throw a lot of information at you today, there's 4 things you simply need to remember. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you falsehoods on reverse mortgage. They'll give you myths. They'll tell you, well, I don't think I'd trust it, etc. But here's 4 things to remember. What are they, Norm?
Well, you never, ever have to make a house payment. I've got a reverse mortgage, and I haven't made a payment in 5 years.
And you haven't missed it.
I haven't missed it, okay? You never come off the title. That means the home is still yours. It's still titled in your name, okay? You never owe more than what the home is worth. What that means is when you go to sell that home, okay, and you owe $100,000 and the home is worth $125,000, you pay $100,000 back to the bank, and you get to keep the other $25,000.
That's right.
And you never ever pass any debt on to your heirs. That means your kids, grandkids, they're not going to be responsible for your debt at all.
They'll never be asked to write $1. So ladies, if you're saying, well, I don't want to do a reverse mortgage because I don't want to stick my kids with debt, I've done hundreds of reverse mortgages for great couples out there, and let me tell you, when something happens and you pass away, if you've done a reverse mortgage, the kids still inherit that house. And if you have a line of credit and you haven't used all the money in it, not only do they get the house, they get the line of credit as well. And none of it is taxable. Folks, like Norman said, you can call us at 877-528-4429, and we'll tell you privately, confidentially, how much you get. We'll answer all your questions. Or you can go to www.seniorreverse, R-E-V-E-R-S-E, mortgages, M-O-R-T-A-G-E-S, services, S-E-R-V-I-C-E-S.com. And you can see a lot of the information there. And one of the things I like about that website, there's a whole list of videos that you can listen to where you see your friends and your neighbors that have done reverse mortgages tell you what it has done for them. These are not actors. These are your neighbors, folks.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick break for the calls, and when we get back, we're going to talk more about reverse mortgages and where we're going to hold the next workshop.
For seniors, the rules seem to be always changing, and that makes it hard to keep up with what you can and can't do. But KAAM still has the answer. Norman Williams. He is the Senior Reverse Mortgage Specialist, and he wants to help make your money last a lifetime. The fact that he's a registered financial consultant and a reverse mortgage broker makes him uniquely qualified to answer all of your questions about getting a reverse mortgage. And even though he specializes in reverse mortgages, Norm's expertise is not limited only in that area. He can also advise you wisely about Social Security and many issues in between. And if that's not enough, he offers free monthly seminars so he can share with you his 5 solutions for living a stress-free lifestyle. His next seminars will be held on Thursday, July 23rd and Tuesday, July 28th from 6:30 to 8 at Abuelos in Hearst. Space is limited, so make your reservations today by calling 877-528-4429. Senior Reverse Mortgage Services, Inc. is an equal opportunity lender. NMLS number 257913.
Hey there, Sue Thompson made me famous. And following up, yes, we're going to have a workshop, and we're going to talk more besides reverse mortgages. We are going to cover that. We're going to cover Social Security. When's the best time to apply? Would you like to make another 32% more money on your Social Security check? Are you married, divorced, been a widow, a widower? How are you going to take those payments? Do you know which one to take? Did you make the wrong selection? Did you take it too early?
Can you correct it?
Can you correct it? You know, how to lower or eliminate taxes on Social Security and interest income. And we're certainly going to talk about all your retirement type of options at the workshop, how to get guaranteed income and inflation protection, and basically how the math and science works. This is not my opinion. This is not 50 other financial planners' opinions. We use math and science to break down exactly what's going to be happening in your retirement years. You know, when you run that calculator and you find out that everybody in your family's been living until age 90 or 70 or 100, that gives us a whole lot of good information to help you make a good decision about retirement. We're going to talk about how to avoid some probate issues. How about long-term care? Every plan needs to have long-term care, and we have basically a 7-step plan that we work with everybody on, and that's first and foremost is to develop a retirement plan. Fred, isn't that right?
A lot of people, they're going to retire tomorrow, or they're already retired, and they really don't have a plan. They really don't know when they're going to run out of money, or if they are. Listen to Norman. He can help you.
That's where the math comes in. We got to find out all about all your assets and how much we can turn those assets into income. Because you can lose your assets. Just ask all those folks in 08 and 09, okay? So if they'd had their money in income, they would not have lost that money.
That's right.
Okay? Now, we're going to really push maximizing your Social Security. So, folks, if you're listening out there and you're 62 to 66, you really need to think hard about taking Social Security. Maybe if you're on disability, that's okay, because you're going to get your Social Security check as though you were 66 or 67. You know, but you really want to hold off on taking Social Security. If you're working, the golden rule is if you're still working, you don't need to be drawing Social Security. Let it grow to get a bigger check, so when you can't work, you got a decent check.
And you get the maximum check.
That's right. Then, for some of you out there, we're going to talk to in the workshop and you on the radio, you may have some talents. So we talk to you about a hybrid retirement, how to work a couple of days or so a month. Remember, every extra dollar you bring in income that's a dollar you don't have to take out of your savings to live on.
Right.
Okay? That savings can be that trip that you want to take on the ocean. Okay, how to protect your savings from inflation. Yeah, inflation has been very low. It's going to probably stay low. But even gasoline and food, they have a way of keep going up. And if you like to eat like I do, you want to make sure that there's enough money and enough food in the pantry.
One unexpected medical bill. That notice from the roof company that you got to replace that roof, or you got a foundation issue, and you suddenly got to come up with a lot of money. Folks, you can wipe out your savings pretty quick. So listen to Norman, and he will help you get through those issues.
And folks, we're going to talk about how to develop a secured, guaranteed retirement income. How many of y'all out there are going to have 5 different checks coming in each month, guaranteed for life? I know you're going to get a check from Social Security. It's going to automatically get deposited. Only about 14% of you is going to even get a pension anymore.
That's
Okay,
right.
That used to be about 70%. That's not that way anymore. And if you didn't properly save and structure it so you could end up with income, and if you want to know how to set up guaranteed retirement income for life for you and your spouse, or just you individually, you need to pick up the phone and give me a call at 877-528-4429. Now, every plan needs to figure on long-term care, because longevity is going to be, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because the longer you live, the more money you're going to need to spend, and the more care you're going to need. The longer you live, you're going to end up and need 3 or 4 years of long-term care coverage. Okay? So, now, this is where Fred and I come in every week, and when we talk to you, and that is we want you to use your home equity wisely.
And I'm going to talk to you and give you examples of what kind of money people got at various values of homes, so you can see what we're talking about in a few minutes.
So, you know, folks, there's $14 trillion of retirement money sitting out there. and a lot of it's in the stock market. And we're really cautioning people that we're right at an all-time high. Market's been fluctuating up and down more than 200 and 300 points at a time. We're getting ready for another bear market, and this is not going to be like anything. It's going to be like the one your granddaddy saw, except probably going to be worse.
Well, look at China. Look at what's happening in Greece. Look at what's happening all over the place, folks. Can you afford to lose 30, 40, 50% of what you've got invested? If you'll listen to Norman, you'll be bulletproof on those issues.
So, Fred, I know you've had a number of contacts this week that you've met with and talked to about reverse mortgages. So why don't we give the folks a few examples of the type of situations we find people in when they're calling us about a reverse mortgage?
Folks, you'll say to yourself, well, I'll do a reverse mortgage sometime in the future. Or, I don't think I need to do a reverse mortgage, or I'm not sure why I'd want to do that. Let me give you some examples. I worked with a couple this week in Fort Worth, and they wanted to retire. And both of them didn't really think they could. They did not have a mortgage on their house. Their house was free and clear. Well, we got them $75,518 in tax-free money. They still own the house. They have no payments. That couple now has an additional $75,000 that they can draw on and use as they need it. And guess what, folks? That will grow. In 5 years, it's guaranteed to be $87,490. So you wonder why that couple did it? They now will have $87,000 that they wouldn't have had they not done the reverse mortgage. They still own the home. The kids are still going to inherit it. That's why that couple did it. I had a couple in Arlington, Texas with a $190,000 home. We paid off their mortgage of $103,000 they owed. They were going to be paying on that mortgage for the next 15 years. We immediately put $700 a month more tax-free money in their pocket every month by eliminating their payment. Folks, they had money left over. They put in a line of credit that's growing at 3.86% tax-free. I did a couple in Parker County, had a $195,000 home. Their mortgage was down. It was almost paid off in a few years. They paid them, they owed $25,000. They were making $570 principal and interest payments. Folks, we get them $9,600 new dollars every month. Or every year, excuse me. Plus, they had a credit card that they were making payments of $357 a month and paying 14% interest. Bottom line is, year one, they have $13,887 spendable tax-free dollars in their bank account they wouldn't have had they not done a reverse mortgage. And get this, that grows. In 5 years, they have another $68,439. That's why that couple did it. They got another $68,000. They paid off their credit cards. They paid off their mortgage. They're better off going into retirement. I had a couple in Fort Worth with a $140,000 home. They owed $58,000. He wanted to retire. We paid off that mortgage. Guess what, folks? We put money in the line of credit as well. I did a couple in Dallas with a house that appraised for $300,000. We paid off a $79,000 mortgage. That saved them $850 a month. But guess what, folks? They got an account that's growing as well as no mortgage payments, so they're saving $850 every month. We got them another $51,000, folks, that they may not use. It may go to their kids if they don't need it, but if they have to replace a roof later on or they want to take that trip on the ocean, they can do it. They don't have to borrow the money, and they have no payments. I did a couple in Bedford, Texas, and that's where our headquarters is. The house was $253,000. First year, we gave them $132,000. That's growing at 3.68. In 5 years, that's going to be $167,000 that they've got now to draw on. They didn't have a pension. They were living on Social Security. They now know that if the Social Security doesn't cover something, they got another $167,000 they can use. That's why they did the reverse mortgage. And remember, they still own the home. Their kids are still going to inherit it. But this couple isn't making payments to anybody. Only their name is on the home, on the title, and they're smiling.
They put into place a backup plan.
That's exactly right.
Make sure that anything that life threw them as a surprise, they would be able to overcome it. They would have the extra money to make sure that they didn't leave either one of them in a bad financial situation.
And they don't have to borrow from the kids. They don't put it on a credit card. And God help them, they don't have to get an equity loan and make monthly payments out of their fixed income. Folks, we're talking about giving you $100,000, maybe more money that you didn't have access to, and you still own the home. You're just not making payments on anything. Folks, you need to give us a call at 877-528-4429 and let us tell you what we can set you up for. After you've got the facts, if you're not interested, that's fine. But at least you know what you're eligible for and what you can get.
And folks, here's what are some of the things that FHA and HUD require us to get from you. These are things to get the mortgage started. First of all, Fred, we got to get them set up with an original counseling certificate so that they can, that's the very first thing.
We set you up for that.
We get them set up for that. It's a reverse mortgage counselor. You're going to spend about 30 minutes on the phone doing that. Now, we're going to need color photocopies of your driver's license and Social Security card, okay? And that's so that Uncle Sam can make sure you're who you say you are, all right? And third item is we need a copy of your property tax statement and homeowner's insurance bill to make sure the FHA wants to make sure those are up and paid up in full. If they're not, there's a way to do that to get the reverse.
We'll catch you up.
If you're a widow or a widower, we'll need a death certificate for the spouse that passed, okay? If you haven't done the probate, then our title attorney knows how to do that for you. That's not a biggie, okay? And if you have a mortgage, we're probably seeing, Fred, what, 60% of the loans now?
At least 60% of our loans. The people that call us still have a mortgage and are making
payments. We're paying them off for them.
We're paying them off.
And they put money into their 401k and 403b when they do that.
Right.
More money in their pocket. Well, folks, we're going to get ready to take a quick break for the calls. And when we get back, we're going to give you some more examples of how you could benefit by talking to us about your retirement plan.
I've heard that if you get a reverse mortgage, your heirs will owe the bank after you've passed. Is that true? I don't want my kids to be left with that kind of debt after I'm gone.
Once again, another myth. That is not true. With a reverse mortgage, if the loan grows beyond the value of the property, FHA assumes responsibility for the deficit. A reverse mortgage is a non-recourse loan. That means if the property is sold to pay off the loan after the homeowner passes away or decides to move out of the home for other reasons, there will be no mortgage debt for the heirs to repay. The maximum amount owed would be the current market value of that house. If the heirs wish to keep the home, they would pay off the balance in full to the reverse mortgage lender. Another myth busted. To learn more about all the wonderful benefits of a reverse mortgage, give Norm Williams a call at 877-528-4429.
The best things in life are free.
That's right, folks. Every week you can get free, good, solid information on how to help your retirement improve it. Get rid of the house payment if you've got one. If you need tax-free money, we know how to get that for you, right, Fred?
Absolutely.
Fred, there are so many people that they're saving too little to retire.
Well, they may not make enough, or they've got medical expenses, or other things come up in their life. We've all been there, folks. But you're going to reach a stage when you want to retire or you have to retire. You really need to talk to Norman about how to plan for that, how to prepare for it, and if you are retired, how to get yourself in a better shape so that you don't run out of money during your retirement.
Here's a recent report by the Wall Street Journal that 57% of the U.S. workers surveyed reported having less than $25,000 saved up. Folks, you can't live on $25,000 in retirement, not have it saved up. Now, you may have your house either paid for or almost paid for, and it's sitting at $200,000 or $150,000 or $300,000, whatever that number is. That's going to be your big bank account, so to speak, that you have been saving. That all that equity you can get your hands on is tax-free money, right, Fred?
Absolutely, folks. You really need to call us at 877-528-4429 and tell the lady you want to talk to somebody about a reverse mortgage. We'll give you confidential information. We'll answer all your questions about the program. We'll tell you how much you qualify for. If you have an advisor or a family member you want us to talk to on your behalf, we will do that. If you're close enough, we'll either meet with you at the office or we'll even come to your house in some cases. So, folks, why procrastinate? Why put it off? You heard earlier of how much money some of these folks right here, these neighbors in the Metroplex, got. You need to call us at 877-528-4429 and find out what you can get out of a reverse mortgage to have a better retirement.
Okay, and while many Americans are now living longer, the extended lifespans will make it really tougher for workers trying to stretch their retirement savings, especially if you only save $25,000. Well, actually, you've saved more than that if you've paid off your house or it's almost paid off, okay? So you have all that equity there. So you have saved up. The $25,000 they're talking about on average, that's people that had a 401k, 403b. They just didn't put a lot of their money to work there. So you need to add additional strands of pension plans in place, and that's what we talk about. Let's talk about different types of ways to increase more pension checks. Do you have a paycheck? Do you have a paycheck? How many years are you going to live without a paycheck?
Right.
Is that going to be 20 years, 25 years? Are you going to make it all the way to 100 like a lot of people are suspecting?
If you're a couple, what happens if one of you passes? You lose that second Social Security check. You may have the same kind of bills you got now, but you don't have that other Social Security check. Norman can show you how to offset that and make sure you don't run out of money. It's real important to your well-being. It's real important to making sure you're taking care of your spouse or significant other.
Yep, and you want to be sure and come to the workshop. We got scheduled for tomorrow night, and that's on the 23rd. And we also got another one scheduled for the 28th. It's going to be in Hurst, Texas. You can call the office at 800-492-9629. That's 1-800-492-9629. We're going to talk about long-term care issues, reverse mortgage issues, how to avoid probate issues, retirement options. I got at least 4 or 5, and I know there's a dozen more. We're going to cover all those for you. Social Security. When's the best time to apply for you? Okay? There's not a general rule that's going to cover everybody, but I'll tell you what, 73% of the people that apply for Social Security do it wrong. Now, I don't say that. Uncle Sam says that.
That's right.
Think about that. 73% of the people that apply for Social Security do it wrong, and they end up with less money for the rest of their life, So, and if you're, are divorced, or if you were a married couple or a widow or widower, you want to attend, because we're going to cover those issues as well on how to help you with your Social Security program.
Folks, a couple of weeks ago, I gave women a warning out there that I was having many women come to me that were either widowed or divorced, or they had lost their job, or something had happened, and suddenly some rather large lenders were contacting them and telling them that they understood they had less income now and that they could, quote, modify their mortgages. And there are legitimate modification programs out there, folks. I'm not saying there's not. But I warned you then, and I gave you some examples of several women who followed this advice, and suddenly they got their house foreclosed on and they lost their homes. If someone offers you to modify your home, etc., get advice from us, get advice from an attorney before you sign papers and agree to it. It may sound good, but it can end up costing you your home. I also have one more issue. This week, some of you out there may know that we stop foreclosures on homes. Now, we do reverse mortgages on $1 million homes. We do them on homes that aren't $1 million. But we had some people come to us this week, as we have in the past, and they were threatened with foreclosures. And we can stop a foreclosure. We can get a reverse mortgage for you that pays that off, and you can save your home and probably put some money in your bank. But I want to give you some examples of how it won't work. I had to tell one gentleman this week we could not help him. He had not made house payments in the last couple of years because of conditions beyond his control.
Fred, did you say he didn't make a house payment for 2 years?
That's exactly right. He would periodically make a token payment, and that was it. And as a result, when he finally came to us, and he came to us 1 week before the foreclosure, it was too late for us to do something about it. Folks, if you find yourself out there because you're working or you're retired, and suddenly you can't seem to make a house payment, or you see your savings spending down, don't wait till your savings get to zero. Don't wait until you get a foreclosure statement. For goodness sakes, call us at 877-528-4429 and tell us our savings is going down, or we're having trouble making a house payment. Can you help us? We can probably help you. You will be amazed at what we can do. We do it for you. We've done it for other folks. Norman likes us to be problem solvers. We're not just trying to sell you something. That's not what we're about. We will solve your problems for us. We will work with you hand in glove. You will see us go above and beyond. But don't wait till your savings are gone. Don't wait until you get that foreclosure statement. Call us when you start to get in trouble, and we will keep you out of trouble. And folks, if you don't have that stress and worry about it, you're going to live better, you're going to live longer. So think about this. Call us at 877-528-4429. Simply tell us, I want to do a reverse mortgage, I want to retire and I'm not sure I can, or I am retired and I'm afraid I'm going to run out of money, or I would just like to take advantage of the program. I had a gentleman the other day with a $700,000 house. He said, I don't need the money right now, but he said, I want to take advantage of that line of credit. He says, I'll put 100% of it in it and let it grow at 3.86. And he said, if my wife and I never need the money, he said, when the kids inherit the house, they'll also inherit that line of credit. Isn't that right? And I said, yes. And he said, isn't that going to be tax-free money? And I said, that's right. He did it, and it wasn't that he was desperate. So, folks, whatever your situation is, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your significant other to call us and find out what you're eligible for and how it works. It doesn't cost you anything. Just call us at 877-528-4429 and tell us you want to talk to us about a reverse mortgage.
You know, Fred, our goals for, when I'm sitting with the client and the prospect is we're trying to find ways to maximize the yields and minimize the risk. We want to take risk off the table.
When you're 19 years old, we've all taken risk, whether it's on the battlefield or investing. But folks, when you get ready to retire, you don't want to risk that money. You don't have time to get it back.
There's two really important things that happen 5 years before retirement or 5 years after retirement. If you make the wrong choice, you're going to end up and be broke in retirement.
And that's not pleasant.
That's not. We want to set it up to where you have plenty of liquidity, safety in your assets. And actually, we want to turn those assets into guaranteed lifetime income, okay? We want to keep you in control of all your funds.
I like that one.
Avoiding probate. And there's a lot of ways to avoid probate. We discussed those, I said, in the workshop, but it's a one-on-one game plan for you and your family when you sit down with me and we develop a plan that we pass off to the attorney to prepare the legal documents that you're going to need to protect you while you're alive. You're not going to be able to do much after you pass away, but I want to make sure you're taken care of while you're alive. And there's certain documents out there, power of attorneys, that you need to have in place.
Norman, I sat with you and my wife sat with you when we first met, and you went through our financial situations with us and you advised us and things. One of the things, just as an example, my wife and I always assumed, because we had, quote, joint bank accounts, that if something happened to one of us, the survivor was going to be able to immediately access those funds without an issue. And you showed us what we could do.
Yeah. And it works out real simple, because if you both if you've been flying on that Malaysia airline, you both go down in that airplane together, okay? Where's the money going to go? You need there's like a beneficiary form. It's called pay on death, and in structuring and setting that up, make sure that if both of you pass away, or one of you passes away and then the other one follows, at least the money has a way to go to the heirs without having to go through probate. Reduction in taxation. Some people are just pay too much in income tax and don't know why they're doing it. And Uncle Sam likes that, but if there's a way that your CPA needs to know how to help you and reduce taxes, instead of taking more money out of your IRA and paying taxes, if you did a reverse mortgage, that money's all tax-free.
Big difference between taxable and tax-free, folks. I prefer tax-free.
I do too. So, it just makes life easier. And I would want to encourage all of you to sign up for the workshop. We have this workshop coming up. You need to call the office at 800-492-9629 to get signed up for that. If you want to talk to one of my loan officers, it's 877-528-4429. Okay? But if you want to get signed up and register, and it's filling up fast, Fred. I mean, we're going to, for tomorrow night, we got a few slots left. Got a few slots left for next Tuesday, the 28th. So you need to get in and give us a call at the office at 1-800-492-9629. And we're going to take a quick break for the calls, and we'll be back in a short.
For seniors, the rules seem to be always changing, and that makes it hard to keep up with what you can and can't do. But KAAM still has the answer. Norman Williams. He is the senior reverse mortgage specialist, and he wants to help make your money last a lifetime. The fact that he's a registered financial consultant and a reverse mortgage broker makes him uniquely qualified to answer all of your questions about getting a reverse mortgage. And even though he specializes in reverse mortgages, Norm's expertise is not limited only in that area. He can also advise you wisely about Social Security and many issues in between. And if that's not enough, he offers free monthly seminars so he can share with you his 5 solutions for living a stress-free lifestyle. His next seminars will be held on Thursday, July 23rd and Tuesday, July 28th from 6:30 to 8 at Abuelos in Hearst. Space is limited, so make your reservations today by calling 877-528-4429. Senior Reverse Mortgage Services, Inc. is an equal opportunity lender. NMLS number 257913.
Welcome back to the Reverse Mortgage Hour, and I am Norman, and I have Fred Wells here with me today.
Hello, folks. Glad to be here.
We're talking about how to do retirement planning and how to use a reverse mortgage. Like the ad says, I'm one of 2 registered financial consultants in the state of Texas that also understands and is a mortgage broker, and we use it in our practice in retirement planning for a lot of folks that it makes sense for. Every case is different and has to stand on its own merit, and we want to make sure that if you decide you want to do a reverse mortgage, it is something that really fits you and need to be done. I did it 5 years ago when reverse mortgages were a newer thing in Texas at the time. I looked at it from every angle that I could find, because my house was paid for. I went, why do I really want another mortgage? And the reason came to mind, I could get more money for retirement. I could set me up another pension check by taking that money out and going and reinvesting it. And that's exactly what I did. And so the day I turn 70 in a few years, I will have another pension check, Fred, that'll be coming to me besides Social Security.
And you still own your home.
I still own the home. I still have to pay the property taxes and insurance. That was another reason for doing it. I backed into a number of my family on both sides have lived into their 90s. So yeah, I want to make sure that I can afford to pay the property taxes and insurance each year. So I use the equity out of that house to invest to make sure I could cover those costs, not only for the house, but for the car and for the homeowner's insurance, car insurance, things like that. So I would have that covered. So at my house, I have actually working for me for my retirement. Isn't that amazing?
Yep, it is, and it makes such a difference in your retirement. It makes a difference in your stress level, and like you said earlier, it gives you a play check as well as a paycheck where you can go out during retirement and enjoy your life.
You know, I look at an individual that comes in and sits down with me, and they're sitting in a $100,000 house, $200,000, $400,000 house, and it's paid for. And I ask them, what are they going to do with that house? Well, we're going to live there, yeah. And I'm looking at how much they got in retirement funds. I said, this is where the math and science comes in. You just told me your daddy's still alive at 90, okay, and you're 62, okay. You're probably going to make it to 90. And I'm looking and I'm running the numbers on the calculator, and I'm going, you know what? You're going to run out at about 80, okay, or 78. Of money, I mean, that you're going to have to take out, that the IRS is going to make you take out of your IRA, whatever, and your cost of living. If you just take a 5% increase in cost of living, which is a small increase, and you're taking money out of your retirement funds to live on and paying taxes. Oh, by the way, do you think taxes, Fred, are going to go up or down?
I suspect they're going to go up.
So the older you get, the more money that you're taking out for your retirement to try to live on. Uncle Sam is going to be sitting there with her greedy hands trying to take that money away from you. So, folks, you really, if you don't ever plan on doing a reverse, you still owe it to yourself to get the analysis so that you have a backup plan for your retirement. How many of you sat down with your significant other or your spouse and said, oh, what if you passed away? Could I afford to live after I lost $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month in Social Security payment? They will not send you 2 Social Security checks when one of you passes away, will they, Fred?
No, they will not.
So, Fred, you got some more cases, studies there?
Actually, it's not case studies. I've got a bunch of questions that people have called me in the last week, and their big concern was, well, I've been holding off doing a reverse mortgage because we're afraid that one of us will pass on before the other one does, and what happens to the property if that happens and we've done a reverse mortgage? Folks, if you or your significant other do a reverse mortgage and one of you passes on or goes into a nursing home or whatever, the survivor, the remaining person, lives in that house payment free for as long as they need to. Can I do? A lot of people said, well, I don't want to do a reverse mortgage now because I don't know if 10 years from now I'm going to stay in this house. I don't know what's going to happen. I may decide later to move with my family, or I may go into one of these retirement homes or assisted living. Folks, you can do a reverse mortgage now. You still own the home, only your name is on the title. You can sell that home anytime you want, and when you do, you'll get the rest of the money out. But guess what? The day you do a reverse mortgage, say in 2015, you're going to have access to the money we're talking about. And if you sell that home later in, say, 2020, you don't give that money back. The loan is paid back when the house sells, so you're probably going to get additional money at that time. And then I had several people call me and say, well, I would like to do a reverse mortgage, but I'm afraid what I'm going to do to my kids if this happens. Folks, if you do a reverse mortgage and later you pass on or you stay in that house till you do, the kids will never be asked to write a check for even $1. they're going to inherit that house. They still get it. If we do a reverse mortgage now and one of us goes to a nursing home, how is that going to work? Well, you get to keep that house, but if that situation, that's a good one to talk to about Norman, because he can tell you about different kinds of trusts and other things that avoid the nursing home getting your funds. He can give you great advice. If I had one couple ask me if they did a reverse mortgage now and then 5 years from now they decide to sell and move to another house, could they do a reverse mortgage on that second house? And the answer is yes, they can.
It's called a reverse for purchase.
That's it. It's called a reverse for purchase. And that's another issue I want to talk about. Folks, a lot of you bought two-story houses years ago. You raised your kids in them. Now the kids have gone out and started families of their own. And you and your spouse, or just you, find yourself living in that big two-story house. And the older we get, climbing those stairs gets to be less and less fun. Plus the house is getting some age and starting to have some maintenance issues. And you've been thinking, wouldn't it be nice to get into a condo? Wouldn't it be nice to get into a single level story house, maybe something newer that has less maintenance and things? Guess what? You can do a reverse mortgage for purchase, and we'll show you how to get in that new home with no payments in the new home. It doesn't cost you to talk to us. The advice we give you, we'll tell you verbally over the phone, then we'll give it to you in writing. Call us at 877-528-4429 and find out what you're eligible for, what you're entitled to, and how you can have a better life.
You sure should. You should give us a call right now, 877-528-4429. And get the process started so you at least know what the amounts of funds that are going to be available to you, how the system, learn how the system's going to work. Knowledge is power. It gives you the wisdom to make great decisions for yourself. And that's what we're in the position of doing, giving you the good information so that you can make a wise decision for your individual situation. Everybody out there, Fred, that we deal with, we haven't met any two people that are alike when it comes to this program, have we?
No. Everybody's different. All of your families are different. Your situation is different. But folks, understand something. When you come to Norman or to his people, we've seen most of these issues before. Maybe not your individual one, but we've seen most of these issues before. We know how to avoid the pitfalls. We know how to tell you what to prepare for and how to prepare for it. And Norman is incredible at giving you advice. And by the way, he's not charging you. He'll give you advice on how to have more money in retirement, how to have a different additional checks coming in that will help you live, and you will still own the house. And Norman, isn't it true? In the last downturn, none of your clients lost money.
That's right. They didn't make any money that year. But if they started out that in 08 with $500,000 at the end of 08 and the end of 09, they still had their $500,000.
And other people, instead of $500,000, we're down to $250,000.
That's right. So, folks, it really, really pays to be in the right place at the right time with the right product. So, Fred, we get these myths all the time. People that they've heard something at a coffee shop, or they were at McDonald's having breakfast with their group of friends, and somebody brought up the deal about reverse mortgage, and there's always some guy or gal there that thinks she knows more than anything, and they really don't. So here's a couple of the myths that we're going to cover. First of all, the bank. People have been told that the bank's going to own your home. That's absolutely false, Fred. You know that. And we tell our people that the borrower retains ownership of the home. The bank has no right to it. It's a non-recourse loan, so you don't have to worry about it. Just
the bank's loan name is not on your title. How about that when you do a reverse mortgage?
That's not. That's right. Number two, your heirs will owe the bank. That's not true. The loan grows beyond the value of the property. The FHA assumes the responsibility for the deficit. That means if you lived in that house to 110 and there's no equity left and there's more money owed against it than what it'll sell for, then FHA is going to pay the difference. And the reason for that is that with each loan is purchased an FHA mortgage protection plan. Number 3, your home must be owned free and clear. No, it doesn't. Now, mine was free and clear, but most of the homes we do today all have house payments going on.
Right.
They all have a loan against them.
Or an equity loan.
Right. And I tell people there's a good starting point. You need to have at least anywhere from 45 to 50% equity in your home. And oh, by the way, there's no disgrace in bringing money to closing either.
No, there's not.
If you're short a few $1,000s of equity and you have the money to do it, you can actually get a reverse mortgage by bringing some money to closing. Number 4. Money received is taxable, and we all know the IRS ruled on that says it's not taxable money, won't affect your Social Security, and that's another fallacy they talk about, that it affects your Medicare and Social Security. It will not affect your Social Security. It will not affect your Medicare. Okay? Closing costs. Yes, there is closing cost. The rumors are that are really expensive. It's not so. They're the same, just pretty much the same on any mortgage, whether you when you buy a house or refinance a house, there's going to be closing costs.
But you're not writing a check on a reverse mortgage for the closing costs.
Most of the time, that's true, and you can write a check if you want, right, Fred? We've had people.
You can.
Okay, some people don't want to roll it into the loan, so they can do that. But if you have enough equity, your equity will pay the closing costs, and so you really don't have to come out of pocket. And that's pretty much it, Fred. There's, those are those myths that we hear all the time, but they are not true.
And folks, like the examples I gave you earlier, whether you got a $140,000 home, you got a $500,000 home, wouldn't you like to have thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars additional tax-free money sitting there in case you and your significant other needed it? And a reverse mortgage will give you that. You retain home ownership. The kids still retain it. Call us at 877-528-4429 and find out what you can get from the program.
Okay, Fred, what really it boils down to, reverse mortgages can and do equal peace of mind.
That's exactly right.
That's what we're in the business of doing, giving you peace of mind. Do you really want to retire knowing that you're going to have to watch your spending habits every penny?
And you're scared you're not going to have enough money to pay the bills at the end of the month.
Yeah, at the end of the month, you still got bills and no money to pay. Retirees who want to keep ahead of inflation will need to budget themselves through the years. One of the ways to do that is with a reverse mortgage. Right, Fred?
Absolutely. And folks, if you got a $500,000 house or a $100,000 house, the same rule applies.
And the rule for the day, we're closing the shop for today. And come back and see us next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Tell your friends and neighbors. And we certainly want to invite you to give us a call at 877-528-4429. Be safe out there, folks.
Norman Williams is a mortgage broker for Senior Reverse Mortgage Services, NMLS number 257913. Not every reverse mortgage case is the same. Factors can alter the end result. This program is for information only and offers no promise of a binding acceptance by Senior Reverse Mortgage Services or any lender for a reverse mortgage. Each customer and case file is handled on an individual basis according to HUD FHA rules.
You've been listening to The Reverse Mortgage Hour with Norman Williams and Fred Wells. Join us next week for more information about how a reverse mortgage can help you here on KAAM.